Welcome to SlapSon. This week's episode, we got Brice Jones in the building. We covered a lot. He reached out. He wanted to state his case as far as, why we haven't seen him and why he wants to be seen again after being on the reality show. We talk about how he got on that reality show, which was actually, it literally gave me chills. He talks about filling out that application, feeling that the timing's right, and it actually happening. He just knew it was going to happen. It was interesting to me. And then, of course, we talk about his technique, the Aloha Lean, a little bit. We get into that. It's gaining more and more popularity, right? People are having success with it. So I asked him about that. Why? Just why? What's the tactic behind it? And all things like that. We talk about his social media presence, about how maybe if he was more active there, he'd have more eyeballs and maybe we could have seen him sooner. But then we also get into the nitty gritty of maybe why we haven't seen him, why we haven't seen other certain fighters. This fight game is just, it's time. And when it is your time, you have to just run with it. And unfortunately, some of that is out of your hands. But when the time is right, you got to prove yourself. We talk about that. We talk about how you both used to live in Vegas. That was kind of fun. But overall, I would say I had a great time. It seemed like Brice did as well. He was very nice. Didn't really call out anybody, but you'll see what he's all about, and you'll see what his goals are, and you'll get a sense of who Brice is, which is the most important thing, right? Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go.
3, 2, 1, yeah, that's a knockout. They call me kamikaze, put you in heaven's lobby. On gas, no brakes, you can never stop me. Nah, no, you can never stop me. Yeah, cause I'm the power slap king.
SlapSon, baby! All right, you ready, big man?
Yeah, I'm ready, brother.
All right, let's do it. All right, everybody. Welcome to SlapSon. We got the man in the building. He won. Didn't he win? Let's get this guy on stage, yeah? What's up, everybody? We got Brice Jones in the building coming to you live from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Dude. All right. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Talk to me, man. What's going on? Beautiful sunny day in Vegas. Can't hate that.
Yeah, beautiful day here. Feels great. Probably going to go for like a little walk after a while. And probably walk down the store, buy a few things, but it's just a beautiful day out, so might as well just enjoy it.
Dude, I dig it, man. Let me get some of my my snack here. So, fun fact for the audience. Look, we're gonna get to it, okay? We're gonna have Brice make his case, but let's talk a little bit. People, come on, patience. You know what I mean? Fun fact. So we met up in Vegas at the after party after the Las Vegas event, and I didn't know you lived there until we actually met up, and we were kind of talking like different streets, like where I used to live, things like that.
Yeah.
Was that kind of? It was funny because the show's in Vegas, obviously. So did you ever get to high five any of your family or friends while you were doing the show?
It was actually weird when I did the show because I kept running into people that like I'd seen like come through my job. So like I don't want to get them in trouble, but I work for a certain place. They come through, a lot, but
I know the place.
yeah. But actually the funniest one was the Russian dude on our team, Alex, his translator. I'd seen that guy like 1,000 times.
No.
And so he was sitting there, and I seen him the first day, and I was like, is he going to recognize me or no? Because most people don't. They don't recognize me outside of like the security outfit that I have on and all that shit.
Sure.
I ended up walking up to him, tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey, man, I'm not going to be there to save you if anyone tries to, do it. And he looks up at me, and he's like, I thought that was you, brother. I thought that was you. And I was like, yeah. So it was real funny, and he actually snagged a couple pictures. He probably wasn't supposed to, but he snagged a couple photos. And when he went back, he was like, "Hey, you're security," and they had a good laugh over it. They were like, "Yeah, we heard that he was going to go."
Dude, that's so funny, man. It was probably like you said. You probably do recognize more of like the patrons, like the customers, than they would, because obviously. I mean, you're just there seeing them come through. So you recognize the regulars. That's a trip, man. What are the odds of that happening? That's so crazy. Like the translator of a competitor on a reality show just happened to be the guy.
But yeah, from the hotel, there was a lady working at the hotel. I'd seen her a bunch. I think it was, we went and did like some medicals. Once again, like some people that I've seen before, from here and there. So it was kind of wild. And most of the people on the show didn't like, even though I would say I'm from here, it's like they just hear my voice and they just go, oh, he's from Arkansas or wherever. And so they wouldn't put it together until like I would have to remind them, like, oh yeah, you can go right down there and there's this or that, and then they're like, oh yeah, you live here. Never mind. You know what you're talking about.
That's funny, man. No one can pull a fast one on you about Vegas in the house. They'd be like, yeah, I heard that there's this spot and blah, blah. And you're just going, no, that's not the
Yeah,
case,
yeah.
man.
There
That's not
was
the
a
case."
couple times of that actually. I was like, nah, bro, you can't do that.
That reminds me, where'd they take you guys? Were you on that bus where they had like the stripper pole and shit? Were you on that thing?
Yeah. That was kind of like the gift from Dana from the first rounds of the fights. All the people that won.
That's such a cool gift, but I got to be honest, man. I don't know, like. It'd be nice if there was, some ladies with the stripper pole. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what anybody's preferences per se, but
Yeah.
The guys
think
getting
there was
down
only-
dancing was crazy, man.
Yeah, they only had one girl on the bus, and that was one of the production. I think some of the guys
We don't
kept
want
trying
that.
to get her.
We
They
don't
kept
want that.
like trying to like, come on, there's a pole here. I think
No.
I think
We
it was
want, we,
Darren.
we
and-
want to keep our job. She can stay there.
Yeah, I think Darren ended up giving us a show.
Yeah, man. Darren's got that booty clap. That's just a rumor.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just a rumor.
Dude, speaking of Darren, man, he's kind of on a little bit of a tear, yeah?
Yeah, I love seeing what Darren's doing. I like being on him on the show and stuff, and like his technique of slapping. I was like, man, if you would just do something a little bit more, because he was so like rigid and so stiff with his slap. I was like, man, you have so much more power, but you're overthinking like hitting this guy. And to see him go up there, he's doing the lean on one now.
Yeah, he's got that Aloha Lean going.
Like I was the only person on the show that actually well, I guess Raiden too, he did it as well. But like as soon as I met Pono and he started talking about the style that he's developed and stuff, I just immediately kind of grasped it, and I was like, yeah, that actually works way better for my style. So I like adopted that lean on one from pretty much the first day in the house. Like,
So what is it with the lean, man? Like, I mean, okay, obviously people, when they get their measure, they kind of lean a little bit. Okay, obviously. But like, what's the idea behind the tactic? Is it to sort of mold your target to your hand, to your slapping hand? Is it more of a mind game to kind of get you in the right mindset? Like, what's the tactic behind it, man?
I mean, honestly, I think there's a lot of things on the lean. Like, first of all, it's more measuring where you want to leave off, sort of deal. Like when you slap through, you want to kind of like lean just so you know, like, oh, when I hit this guy, I need to like swing all the way through. And then there's more just going on, just literally from just leaning over to all the way down to your feet. Like there's so many different aspects going on. And a lot of people think like, oh, it's just that leaning just a little bit over your target. But there's actually a lot more like nuances going on in that technique. And it takes going to Pono and figuring out what's best for you and your body mechanics. Like some people's body mechanics may not be able to support them doing it. It also it's a style that takes a lot of accuracy. You got to be super accurate with that style, because you're not doing that measure and getting those like, okay, I'm here, then let's go. You're not getting that. So you got to be like an accurate striker. First thing, you got to be at least that, I think.
So it's more.
That's why I think with Darren, it's working for him, because he has that boxing background. So he's very accurate. So like he's doing it, and honestly, he could do it a little bit better. Like I think if he had some personal help from Pono or even from me, like I think I could help him too. I think he would probably even have a more devastating slap than he's got going.
So you think there's even more improvement for that guy?
Oh yeah. I think there's always more improvement for each of us, but
well, that's fair. Yeah.
But like, because even from the first time I learned the lean, to now, like I'm doing it completely different, and like I change little things all the time that like I work on it. Like it could be the most minute thing, just turning my hips a certain way, or loading up a certain way, or when I go to power through, like what am I engaging? You know, there's all these like little things that you find along the way that you can kind of critique and make a little bit better, and you can put a little bit more power on it. So you know, I think with Darren, like he's got it down really smooth, and I think he could have it even smoother, and I think he could actually get where he could generate even more power off of that slap. So,
Wow.
and you know, I mean, you see with Pono's last performance, like you know,
Yeah.
we were in the hotel room working on his slap, just like talking to him for a minute. We just changed a couple little things of that slap, and when he went up there, I mean, it was exactly what we knew it was going to be. You know, just a devastating hit. You know.
Dude.
And it's all about just tweaking those little things to make sure that you deliver, you know. So
Yeah, dude, 100%. Wow, thanks for the breakdown. No, I think that's real. I mean, it's funny, and I will probably be talking about what I'm about to say for the forever, you know, as long as the sport is around. So, you know, but it's not just slapping. Like, I don't know how to tell people this more plainly. Like, okay, duh, yes, that's the act. But much like boxing or some other type of strike, you do have to have some accuracy, man. I mean, you just can't get up there, flail your hand around, because the guy, you know, across the podium from you, like a Brice Jones, is going to look you in the eye and say, my turn, and show you how it's done. So I got a question with that is, you know, Tyson used to say, and he, you know, he still says occasionally in podcasts, you know, speed kills, accuracy kills, right?
yeah,
And what made him so dangerous, part of it is obviously the demeanor, the countenance, all that stuff, but it was the speed combined with the accuracy. And it was almost like, I don't want to downplay this, but it was almost like his stature, his muscles were like secondhand to the first two. So
yeah.
my question is, do you think accuracy is more important than strength and slap?
Yeah, I mean, you can hit a guy up here. Like if they're tough, they're gonna eat that shit, and you're just gonna have a long night out there. You know, it's all about that accuracy. Like a lot of these guys are feeding their hand into the face, and you know, like it needs to be started getting called. But doing that, like a lot of these guys are gonna be able to take those shots. You know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna put a lot of these guys away because they're tough. You know, we're all tough up there, so it's all about just hitting that button. And that button is somewhere in this region, you know, and we all know it. So it's having that accuracy and then using that speed, that timing of, because the faster you can be about it, the harder your opponent's going to be able to like really track that with his eyes and actually like get ready to brace for that shot. That's where the lean on one also, it takes that letting your opponent start to like measure you. Like, okay, when he gets back so far, I need to start bracing at this point because I got like a second as soon as it's, you know, two and he's back, you know, it's going to be firing through. So you gotta get ready to brace for that. And then that's where it comes on, you know, me or anyone else hitting that target, actually hitting that target and not hitting up too high, not hitting, you know, deep into the face and all that stuff. We're only supposed to be hitting with just this part of your hand, not down here.
Right.
And honestly, if you got the knockout power, you're gonna be able to put someone out with just that. So you know, it's just all about that accuracy. And I think that that's what I'm gonna show when it is, you know, my turn. Is that I probably have the most accuracy in this game, and I'm gonna show.
So, well, then that's a perfect segue, man. So you go on the show. Not only do you do your thing, you do your thing, right?
Yeah.
And building up respect, you know, as far as that house is concerned, as far as like the slap nerds, as I call it, are concerned, they've kind of seen you rise, you know what I mean? Not the casual fans at all. But you haven't been seen since. So you've had a lot of time to work on said accuracy. You've had a lot of time to work on said power. You've had a lot of time to like recognize more people at your job, you know? So what do you say to that, man? You were ranked, then you got off, and you're seeing these guys get their moment, but hey, you're a winner of a show. You were there. You did your thing. Why do you think we haven't seen you on the podium again, on the stage again? Not on the podium, across the
Yeah.
podium, on stage again.
I'm not really sure why. Because going on the show, they told us, you lose in the first round, don't expect any call anytime soon. If
That
you lose
quick.
in the second, once again, don't expect too much of a call, right away. They were like, wins here is what's going to get you the opportunity. And so, going out there, getting the first win, just with a one shot, I was like, well, at least with that, I'm going to get a call, and then doing the second match, against James, it was a hard match. It wasn't easy. Like, I mean, he put one on me, and I didn't even remember that one being put on me.
Which
Like, I
shows,
don't
which shows it
remember.
was a good shot.
Yeah, it was a damn good shot he landed on me. And I'll circle back to James because I want to say something about that later. But like, to me, I think that showed that I could take it, get up, and just keep going and do what I'm up there to do, which is get a win.
Yeah,
Of
100%.
course, I wanted to get up there and knock out James, but I mean, James is a tough boy. Like, he ain't no joke, really. I mean, I think Power Slap might have looked at him as a joke by the end of it, to be honest. But I mean, James hits hard and James can take it, So for me to get through him, I mean, it should have been hey, let's get this guy up there as soon as we can and see what he can do, So, I've been trying to get back up there since they went to Abu Dhabi, I
No,
was like,
it's
hey,
been a minute.
yeah, I was like, I'll take some on the undercard, which they gave that to Wes, which is fine, like Wes suffered like a DQ loss, or a win, but, he lost. So to give him the opportunity to get back up there, same thing with Pono, Pono was another guy, he was deserving of an opportunity to get back up there. He broke his right hand and still toughed it out, went up there with his left. I get that. But to give these guys like, Jinx an opportunity when he went out there and lost, like, to me, it should have been me and Wes on the last one. And, let me fight for getting back in the rankings, But that's not what happened, So I'm starting to get a little baffled by what, like what's going on. I feel like I've showed it, and I would like to continue to show it, but I'm not really getting the call.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So, one sec, man. We can edit this part out. Will you shut the door, big guy? Thanks, dude. All right, we're back. You'll love this. My kid was sick today. The second he was late to school, he perked right up, sucker. Like he was fine. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he's making some noise a little bit. One last thing. Yes. And then I'm going to put this thing back on. So on my phone, I put it on Do Not Disturb except for my kids.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful 95% of the time. But then when there's a loophole like today, let me tell him, okay, do not disturb, engage. No more kids. No, so dude, what I wanted to say was, do you feel like, so let's talk about that, man. So you go on the show, they outline it for you, like pretty black and white, right? Like, hey, if you don't win, sorry, dude, you're gone. And then in that second round, it seems like and sounds like it was the same thing. Like, hey, we love you. Sorry, dude. You got to move on if you don't win.
Yeah.
So your ass comes along, does that literally, and then is kind of taking a step back. And I hear what you're saying with Jinx and all that, And the only thing I can think of is the fight game is weird. And the more I get into it with you guys and, the whole Power Slap community and that, I find out it's even weirder. So part of me thinks maybe that was a way to find out for a fact what Jinx is all about. You know what I mean? Maybe that was a way for them to think, oh, because you never know what they're thinking. So maybe they think, oh, Wes has a great presence, whatever. Maybe it was their way of, seeing if Wes really has it, and they put him up against somebody. So what I'm getting from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that's all you're really asking is, look, I showed you what I can do. Now let me show you if I can still do that on the big stage.
Yeah. Just really that opportunity, just, let me go up there and show what I've been working on all this time that I've had. And then can I go out there and perform in front of a live crowd, And I do get, I understand why they're, running a lot of these guys that lost, but I feel like that was what the show was for, to see if we got it or don't got it.
Right.
And
That's
I
a
think
good
the ones that
insight,
did,
man.
like me, Vince Tracy, we went out there and won. So it's, to me, it's like, let us get kind of that first stab, and then you can give these guys the opportunity later, and let them wait a little bit, and really improve on, what they were lacking.
Yeah. In other words, for what you have done, at least surface level, you're putting in the work behind the scenes, of course, like especially since you've had this time. But you're kind of like, I have shown you what I can do. Like,
Yeah.
what else do I need to do? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. What else, And look, I do understand what they're doing there with that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, the guys that won, you got to start kind of letting them have their due.
For
And
sure. So there's
the
no
guy
like
eating or something.
so on the show, there's no like so like the Ultimate Fighter, for example, right? They get the 6-figure contract, 100,000, and then they get a contract with the UFC. But then you usually see them pretty quick. So
Yeah.
with Road to the Title, maybe you can give us some insider baseball a little bit as far as like when you're on the before you get on the show. I know you already have a contract in front of you. You have to sign to even be on the show. I think everyone knows that. But if you actually go out and win that show, it doesn't seem to be as streamlined because it is so new, and we're still kind of it's crazy to think we're still figuring this thing out, and it has been less than 2 years, right? Or maybe it's
Yeah.
been 2 years now. But do you think that was part of it, just the feeling out process of the show, where you don't get like a straight title shot, or you don't get like a straight prelim fight? Do you know what I mean? Like that you don't win it and then go to the next step. It's kind of been fading a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I do like how they're kind of letting you build up a little bit. Like, don't just win that show and just go straight to the champ. Like, you're gonna lose because I think it requires a few times up there to understand. Kind of like you said, it's not just about the slap that's happening. It's also about taking it. It's also about the stuff you do while you're up there. If you look at some of the guys that have been doing it for a long time, like Crazy Wine, when he's hurt, if you ever notice when he's hurt, he'll waste a lot of time. He'll give himself a lot of extra time. Even when the clock stops or starts, it doesn't matter. If he needs more time, he's going to take it. And he does it with his showmanship. He does it with all these different things. That's the kind of stuff that you're not going to get coming off that show. You're not going to understand how to really work that stage and get up there and really make something happen.
Not everybody's a natural showman. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, and it takes time to learn all the little things that you can do, that I wouldn't say that they're like against the rules. It's like you can kind of skirt some things, like, um, for example, like they want you to stick your chin out, but you don't really have to do that. That's not really a rule. But they'll keep trying to get you to just stick your chin out, but you don't have to do that. You can play with that a little bit. You got to protect yourself at some point in there. So, but like someone like Jinx, if you looked at him, he went up there and he tried to brace his way, and the referee was like, "No, you got to fix yourself." Well, he took it as, "Oh, let me just throw my chin completely out there." And it's like that's the stage awareness that you need some time to build up on the undercard or something to figure that stuff out. Just because they're asking you to do something, it's not against the rules. You just got to figure out how to give them what they want, but not giving yourself open.
Yeah,
To
you
just
want
get
to you want to give them the
hammered.
show, but also protect yourself.
Exactly.
And I see what you're saying. Like a crazy is a good example. In fact, Dumpling was kind of getting into it last time. So even a veteran, bro, it takes a couple matches
Yeah.
to kind of feel yourself, get into your own zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can see up there with him too. Just having now 3 matches, you can see the different stage awareness,
Well,
and that's
100%. He was John back at crazy.
yeah,
He was working the crowd. So what you're saying, man, is like so valid. It's so real. But the only way you can do that is if you get that time. So you don't, and dude, this is the moment, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but it for you is about being at a certain placement on a card, or is it just getting on the card for the experience? Like, what's the most important thing?
I mean, the most important thing is just me being able to get up there. Like,
Okay.
I don't really care if I was on the undercard or not, or on the main card. Just, I need the experience to get up there, you know? And that's really all I cared about, really. Because I think I possess the skills to really climb up the rankings. So I'm not worried about, like, where am I at on the card. I think time is going to show, you know,
I
all
like
things.
I like when you smirked when you said that. Time's gonna show.
But trust me,
That was perfect.
when these guys start letting me get up there, they're going to find out real quick that there's levels of this, like, and I appreciate this call out, and I appreciate this guy doing this. You know, he's new, is Aaron. You know,
Yeah, dude, Aaron's a stud, bro.
yeah, he's a great dude. I like him, and I hope that, you know, we eventually get to run it.
That'd be a cool matchup, man.
But I think he's going to find that there's a huge difference between, like, his first match and the match he would have against me. There's a huge difference. Like, I get that Brian Ellis had done it a few times, but I feel Brian Ellis is in the wrong weight class. He should go really up to super.
What does that
Because
guy walk
one,
around at? Do you know?
he walks around like close to 300. Like,
No
he's having to cut
shit.
down. Yeah. So
So his natural weight is not necessarily where he's at.
yeah, no.
Dude, I need to talk to that guy,
So
man.
I mean, you know, he's cutting a lot of weight. Also, you're dealing with, I think, the height differential in the technique of being able to hit somebody. If you're that tall, you're not going to be able to swing in a good enough range of motion to really lay it on somebody.
So you don't think height, in essence, slapping down is necessarily an advantage?
If you develop a technique, but these guys, you know, they're football players, or they're, you know, basketball players, or whatever, you know, they might have done. They're not fighters, you know, they've never stepped in a gym, learned how to actually throw a strike, and understand the nuances of a strike, and how to actually land on a target with everything you got. You know, like, they've never been in that kind of room or that situation. So they would have to really develop that, but they're not going to develop that on their own because they don't have that experience to develop it on their own.
I
You
see.
know,
I
so
see.
it's going to take them going to somebody and actually figuring that out, you know, and I don't, it doesn't really seem like that's something that's on their mind. So, you know, I think if they go against guys more their height, you know, like, most of the supers are anywhere from 6'3" to 6'5", you know,
Yeah, they're bigger for sure.
so that's a better target to hit than a guy that's, you know, like myself and most of the other heavyweights. They're, you know, they're 6'2" to, like, maybe 5'11", you know, or something, you know,
Yeah.
so they're gonna have to really develop a strike that I don't think that they possess the skills to actually figure out, you know.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, yeah, if your eye level with somebody, the match, definitely has, at least immediately off the cuff, has a bit more potential because you got that sight of line, or that sight line to your opponent. So that's interesting, man. Yeah, because being taller, you would think that you'd have like an angle, you know what I mean? Like coming down. But what you're saying is real. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this is why the fight game's so cool. I don't care if it's MMA or boxing or whatever. Like, you just don't know, man. It's the excitement
Yeah.
of the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Power Slap, like, you know, it's trying to figure out what it is exactly, you know, like,
What
and
do
to
you mean? What
me,
do you
like,
mean by that?
well, like, I think it's trying to, like, you kind of alluded to, like, is it fighting? Is it kind of like pro wrestling in a sense, or is it this, or is it that, you know? And to me, like, what Power Slap is, like, one, it's a tough man competition, you know. It's a strongman competition in a sense, and then it's like an elite striking competition. It's a little bit of WWE. You got to have a little bit of
The
that flair,
walkouts.
because there's not, you know, you're not watching guys fight. You're watching guys at possibly delivering just 3 to 5 strikes. So there's a lot more going into it. You got to give something the crowd to look at besides just those strikes, you know.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I will say this though, all of that comes together in such a huge way at the live events.
Yeah.
You just I mean, that's how we got hooked, right? We went and saw it live and was like, what the hell is this thing? Like, what
Yeah.
is going on? And then you realize that it is a show and it's not a sideshow. It's just a
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. It's a show.
Yeah, man. No, I totally agree. What's your day-to-day like, man? What do you go to work, come home, chill? Are you into cooking? Do you like video games? What's up, man?
Yeah. I mean, my day to day, work week, I'm just going to work. When I get off, I normally go to the gym, put like a good hour, an hour and a half in the gym, then come home, just kind of relax, either watch a show or play a game.
What kind of things you doing at the gym, man? You doing more cardio shit or weights or just cycling class, some shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, lately more kind of weights. I'll always do a little bit of cardio to start off any workout. I'm a bigger dude, so just to get a little bit better looking in shape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got to do a little bit of cardio. So doing that, and then just lifting weights. Been really just trying to put a lot of strength and muscle in my legs, in my hips.
The
Uh,
foundation.
you know, in my back and in my shoulders and stuff, and my chest. Just trying to make sure that the motion of the slap, I'm just hitting all those muscle groups that I'm going to use. So
Yeah.
just been mostly doing that and doing like little workouts, like trying to work explosive, mobility and stuff like that. And, you know, it's been a little bit harder lately, but, I'm still in the gym and still getting it done.
Dude, I love that. So do you rock your power slap hoodie and sweats when you go to the gym?
Usually the hoodie, I will.
Dude, that's
Sometimes
baller. Do you
I'll,
do you feel like, hey man, I'm here. I'm the power slap guy.
yeah, I mean, I just, well, I don't really pay attention to anyone in the gym at all.
That's fair. That's
Normally I go kind of late at night. I try to go when there's not too many people around, really.
yeah, that's probably
Because I
smart.
just don't like the crowds. Um, so I'll go kind of later, but um, yeah, I normally I just wear the shirt or maybe the hoodie,
Yeah.
or sometimes the sweats, depending on if my other sweats are not available. I'll wear the power slap sweats.
I asked because I went and worked out with Luke Simons a few weeks ago. And it was fun, man. Like it was like the perfect amount of attention, meaning it wasn't like, fucking Taylor Swift is in the gym and millions of people, paparazzi, all this stuff, and it wasn't like crickets either. People know what slap is.
Yeah,
They don't want to admit it yet. They're still in the closet, but they're coming
yeah,
out. And and it was fun, man. They're like, "Oh, so you do that? You do that?" And I bring that up because we know what the stigma is with the sport. But if you happen to see a guy in slap sweats at the gym and he happens to be actually in the league, he's a striker, man, that is probably like the best way to understand the sport, is to understand that like all of you are like humans just trying to do your thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've noticed, if anyone does notice me, because I've had like maybe one or two people at my job kind of like walk by me and be like, "Man, you look awful familiar."
That's crazy, dude.
And I'm like, well, have you ever watched Power Slap? And they're like, yeah. And I'll just kind of pull out my phone and I'll just kind of show them. You've probably seen this video, right? And they're like, oh yeah, that ran across my Instagram. Like
Dude, that's so
I've seen
cool.
that clip like 1,000 times. I shared it, and I'm like, yeah, that's me, bro. And they're like, what? You're working here? What's up? you know?
Yeah, man. Then like reality sits in. It's like, well, yeah, dude, I gotta have a fucking job, but we're working on
Yeah,
it. We're working on
yeah. They're not paying us that much yet, not yet.
it.
We're working on it.
Although I will say this, I have heard that. I mean, it's not really apples to apples, but it is the fight game. I have heard that comparing slap to like UFC in the same kind of stages as far as time is concerned,
Oh yeah,
slap is like eons beyond what UFC was. So that's positive.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I've ran across a couple like fighters and stuff because they'll come through my work or I'll see them out and we'll start talking. We'll talk gyms or whatever. And then I'll be like, oh well, I actually fight for Power Slap, and they're like, oh, I'm curious what you make,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
run it by them a little bit, and they're like, dude, I'm getting like $1,500 maybe if I'm lucky, like not fighting for the UFC, but just fighting for like low level, you know,
Right.
like pro.
Like Tough Enough is around Vegas, you know,
Yeah,
things like that.
like,
Yeah.
fighting for those. They're like, yeah, man, I'm not making anything. I'm like, yeah, well,
Dude,
sign up for Slap, man.
dude, for real. I mean, let's be honest. Like, we don't need to talk numbers, but I've heard enough interviews to where, and I've given interviews. Frankly, if you go watch them, you can find the answer to this. But hey, if you can make a month's worth of wage for potentially 4 minutes of work, I got to be honest. If you've got that caveman in you, or you've got that hunger, that cave girl in you,
Yeah.
it doesn't look so bad, bro. It doesn't look so
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, you know, for me, like coming off the show, I mean, shoot, that was like 8 months worth of wage, you know?
Yeah, bro,
Like,
people can't argue when you get down to brass tacks like that. Like,
yeah,
they can say what they want, but dude, at the end of the day, if fucking Erica or, you know, whoever called me and was like, hey, and we'll give you 8 months worth of money, I'd be like, let me talk to my wife. I'll be right
yeah,
back.
you know? Because I mean, you know, I don't make a lot of money, so, you know, like, it's definitely good money for me, you know? Like, I can definitely, you know, and I'm a pretty, like, smart guy with my money. So, like, for me, it's the best opportunity I probably would have ever got in my whole life, you know?
Isn't that kind of amazing?
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild because I've been trying to get on it since season 1, but
But dude, I
I
didn't
haven't
know
got the
that. So
call.
you applied and
Yeah,
everything for a couple of
yeah.
seasons.
Yeah, I've been trying to get on since season 1. Season 1 I applied for. Season 2 I just had too much going on in my life and I just wasn't paying attention. And then when season 3 was coming on, I had a lot going on in my life and I was like, I think I could probably get on this show. And I think I
Dude,
could probably change my life if I do. So I was at work and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go take a 15. I'm going to go put in my application right now. I ended up sitting out there for probably 30 minutes, just making sure that I just put everything correctly on this application to get in
wow.
there. And then, like, within,
Were you kind of nervous filling it out, even though you had done it before? Like, was your gut kind of telling you, hey, I think this might be the one?
yeah, something was telling me it was the moment. Like, I was just sitting there. I was like, just go fill this out. Just go do it. And I ran it through my head like 30 or 40 times. And I was like, all right, enough's enough. Let's go fill this out. And as I'm filling it out, I knew, like, I was like, something's telling me I'm going to get this call.
Dude, you can't see. I kind of got the chills, man. That's an amazing story. Like, don't you love moments in life like that though, where it's like, for whatever reason, bro, you just like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
And then to later, I think it was like 2 weeks later, I got an email, thanking you, thank you for, putting in your stuff and, may we'll be contacting you. And I was like, you know, maybe I'm going to actually get contacted for this.
Dude.
And then I waited like almost like 2 months and I didn't hear anything. And then once again, just something in my gut was like, just that email that sent that to you, just send something else. Just send
Really?
whatever. And I just quickly went on my phone. And I think I'd worked on this email for like maybe a month because I was like, what do I say in this thing?
Oh my god.
So I worked on
you
it
were
for like a
really in
month.
your own head a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
do I
yeah.
respond? Do I not respond?
So I was like, what do I say? And so I just put how I felt about it and sent it. Within 20 minutes of me sending it was an email back. And I was like, shit, it worked, And they just hit me up. Do you want to do a Skype? I was like, yep, I do.
Yes, I do.
That's all I needed to hear, And I was like, all right, let's do the Skype. Did it. And they were like, all right, this was our last day picking people. So we'll let
Dude,
you know.
you really got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I was probably one of the last people that they might have picked. I don't know, but leading off of that, I sat there for, I think it was like 2, maybe 3 weeks, something like that, waiting to hear, if they were going to pick me. And I remember sitting in my car just being like, come on. Just every day checking my email, like, come on. And then finally one day woke up and there it was. hey, congratulations, you're going to be on this show, and we're going to start. You got all these medical things you got to do, and I was like, all right, fingers crossed, let's get through these medicals, and so
What are the medicals like for slap?
they put you through it, like,
Do they really? Like, is it like a full on? I mean, do they
yeah,
hook you up to like, the breathing machines and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know if they did the breathing. They do check that stuff eventually, but I mean, you got to do like a brain scan. You got to do like a kind of a bone density test that they run at the same time, just to make sure that you're structurally don't have anything,
Right.
Um, which they might have looked at mine and been like, "Damn, that's like an X-Men going on." Like my bones and especially like in my chin, I know for a fact, like they're like 5 times thicker than the average human being.
Dude, I don't know. This is gonna date me a little bit, but I always just think of Homer Simpson when he goes into boxing, and the doctor fucking pulls out the sterile piece of wood out of the package.
Yeah,
just smacks him with it.
Yeah,
you might have that. You might have that Homer Simpson head, man. That's crazy.
They got to do that. They got to do blood work, make sure nobody's testing hot. That sort of stuff. Right. So, and it was a lot easier for me because I'm out here in Vegas. So, for the other guys, they had to fly in and finish a lot of their tests. But
that's true, huh?
I think I only had to do 2 things, or no, 1 thing, and that was just the physical that you have to do.
Okay.
Just take a physical,
and then everything else that comes with it. Like, was that? I am curious about this actually. So, when they measure your hand and get your slap strength and your neck strength and all that kind of stuff, is that just for show on the reality? Is that just for the reality show so people get different, scenes, or is that are those like stats now where they try and form opponents and things like that?
I think they are kind of using it to form opponents. I mean, it's obviously for the show. I would say the test is all right, other than the slap score. I don't agree with that because, well, doing it on the show, they just had it set up too weird. It was like up against the wall. You couldn't really put yourself into it without just slamming up against the wall.
You couldn't line yourself up.
Yeah,
as easy.
So there was that, and then guys were just hitting it any which way. There was let's just say nobody was actually slapping it to the rule set of power slap. Like there was a lot of twisting, turning, a lot of
like twisting heels, maybe stuff like that.
Yeah, twisting over, like twisting your hips over. There was a lot of, like palm striking it, because to me that slap cube, I get what they're trying to do with measuring that, but the thing is, I think the only way you can actually get a high score on that thing is to club it. There's no. If you slap it with a technique of actual slapping somebody, you're not going to score high at all because you're not hitting it enough to really generate the score up there. So the only way to get, like I noticed at the Circa, they had the power cube.
Yeah.
And so I hit it a few times. And if I would hit it with my technique and actually like slap it like I was going to slap somebody, my score was nothing. But if I did the same thing, but I was like, all right, I'm going to do this, but then club the shit out of this thing, I was getting a real high score,
So maybe that's, you know what? That's probably true though, because, I mean, geez, man, the sport is so new. The equipment can't be more evolved than the sport yet. Yeah. So they got to develop something. Anthony Blackburn, man, he had a crazy idea as far as just like, hooking something like that up to like something like a bob and kind of marry the 2 ideas. Yeah. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah, you could do a bob. I know they have Taekwondo paddles that have like sensors in them that will measure.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those would give you a better idea of how much power you can generate with actually doing a technique. But to me, that cube, the only way you're getting a high score is you got to club the shit out of that thing. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You just got to club it.
Dude, that's amazing.
So, to me, like, yeah, you can show that you can generate a lot of power, but can you generate a lot of power in a slap, though? That's the question you're trying to answer, and I don't think you're getting an accurate answer with that thing. So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't. It's not called power punch. Like you can't cold clock.
Yeah. And I think I'm a good example of it because on the show I had a really low score. My score was like 6 something.
No, hey, honestly, man,
And
that's a good point.
but you saw the result of my matches, you know. You saw that I had power to knock someone out because I was hitting them first of all pretty accurate, but then it was more to the actual slap rules, you know. So I mean, I clearly have power, and that cube isn't really showing that, you know. So it's like you got to put that together, you know, at some point.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So like it's good. It's good to have that so you see something,
yeah,
but you don't want to have your training be around something like that.
yeah,
It goes
or
back to what we were saying with the accuracy. You know what I mean? It's not about the power so much.
yeah, yeah. And they kind of, you know, they grouped us up, you know, comparative to our scores, you know. So like, I was like James Sigmund, you know, he scored super high on his neck on his slap. So you know, they gave him like kind of that, you know, you're probably going to be the guy, you know, as
Yeah,
long as you go out there and win, you know. But you know, to me, he had kind of questionable strikes the whole show, and then you know, I think he did a lot better on the live show than he did in the actual show.
yeah, Abu Dhabi.
But yeah, yeah, you know, so you know they picked the right guy. But to me, what they could have done and what they should have done was the finale should have been me versus James.
That would have been sick, man. That would have been
You know,
cool.
I think one that would have give us both a little bit more experience, but gave him more experience before you threw him up there to Nate. You know, which I mean, I think Nate kind of pulled out that match out. I think he probably won it by hair, but you know, James got the victory, so you know, good on him. You know,
Yeah, that's
it was
that's one of those
definitely it was
matches.
a hard match for him. So you know, like to go out there and get a victory, you know, I'm happy for him on it. You know,
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, man, I could see that match being run back. You
yeah,
know, definitely. Well, the card's coming up in March. You're a hometown boy, right? Fontainebleau is not far from you.
no.
What do we want, man? Do we think we have enough time to get on that card and showcase our shit? Do we feel like we put our get our name out there more and more and more, and then hopefully we get on like maybe the Miami card that's possibly coming up? Like what do you think, man? Do we go for Vegas?
Well, I think there is still time to get me on this card. You know, because I doubt that they've fully formed it out yet. So I mean, there's probably some spots still left. You know, to me, I don't care if it's the undercard, the main card. Just get me up there so I can show what I've been working on. And looking at the rankings, it's like, you know, Logan Greenhall is right there at 10. You know, I went back in the rankings. He wants a match. Why not throw that one up there? If not, if you guys want to run Aaron, let's run that one too, you know? Like, let me show the difference of skill and technique and all that stuff over a big guy who, you know, they got the rocket ship on him, you know? They're going to try to
Yeah.
start pushing that kid. So it's like, let me show you guys need to cool his jets and give him some more time to really actually grow and get up there.
Well, hey man, I would pay to watch that. Let's do this. I'm all
Yeah.
about it. You guys both understand the sport of it. You guys both understand the sportsmanship of it. But I think both of you also, given the opportunity, man, both of you can talk real well on the mic. Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I think we'd both be up there pretty intense and giving a hell of a show. I know that. I know I'm going to walk up there intense because to me, I got a chip on my shoulder, you know, over this. So, you know, I'm going to be going in there to really make a huge statement. You know, my goal is, you know, I don't want that guy walking off the stage, you know. Someone's going to have to help him off, you know, like
Yeah, man.
let's get in there and get it, you know. And you know, we'll shake hands and have a drink after the, you know, after the deal, but you know, they're going to have to deal with a different version of me. Like I'm a super nice guy, but you know, that old saying, the nicest guy in the room is the dangerous guy in the room, you know.
Yep. Beware of the nice and quiet ones.
Uh, you know, and I think that might be some of my problem too of not, you know, really getting a match. I'm not out here talking and doing a bunch of videos. I'm not making videos of me in the gym working out. Like I'm focused. I just go in there and get my work done
Yeah, you're doing it.
and head home.
It reminds me of Wolverine who just stepped away, right?
Yeah,
That man just comes out of the cave, does work, and goes back in the cave. And you know,
yeah,
you can't argue with a champion. So
Yeah.
that might be part of it, man. But I'm excited for you. I really am, because as long as you do your thing on the stage and perform, all that stuff, I feel like will just kind of come for you. You know what I mean? Like all getting more comfortable on social and things like that. And because at the end of the day, if you're winning and doing your thing, it's funny how everything else becomes a bit more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just gotta get up there to show it and get up there and get them wins.
Yeah.
Like
Take care of business, man.
that's really all it is. Like we can't figure out nothing if I'm just gonna sit on the couch and watch these. Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude, no doubt. Well, hey, I'm in. Let's do it. Look, Aaron's he's a Vegasite too, isn't he?
I know he comes out here a lot. I don't know if he
Yeah.
lives out here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know he's out there a lot. So I didn't want to say he lives there without knowing, but but it doesn't matter. We know he's available and willing to do it. So, dude, I'm in. I think that'd be fantastic. He's got some heat. You've waited, put in your time. Maybe the time to collide is fastly approaching, and dude, that'd be incredible. And Brice, I want to thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. I know we tried to do this a little bit. This whole one thing I'm learning with the podcast is the bigger portion is kind of the logistics of it. You know what I mean? Like when so and so is available, when I'm available, that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you coming on and working out a time slot where you could. And dude, I'm excited for you. And I feel like we're going to see you on a card real soon.
Yeah, I hope so. And I appreciate being on. And, I think you got a great podcast. I've been watching some of your videos lately, and I definitely like your style of, getting down to it and your questions and stuff. So, as a fighter, I appreciate it, and I know all these guys are appreciating it a lot too.
Man, thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. Where can people find you on social, and we'll wrap this baby up?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on I got a Facebook page too. It's Brice_JustHandsJones, and yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram, but I do post on the Facebook thing too every once in a while. But
okay, well, everybody, go check this guy out. Follow his journey. If you don't know, you better find out, because the card's coming up, and we just might see this guy on here. All right, let's let this bitch upload. 1 sec. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to keep rolling, baby. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you want, you could even share it.